you participated in a press conference with Chicago CRED on January 6th, a day that will now be live in infamy, but not for your press conference, but for the coup attempt that happened a mile from where I'm living. And I was so happy to see them, the insurrectionists, staying at the hotel next to where I live. That was a really great thing to experience. But in that press conference, I believe there was a commitment, a goal setting of reducing homicides 20% a year over the next 5 years. So I guess I want to go round robin here, around to all three of you. How do you plan? How does the city do that? That's a really bold goal to set.
Was that last year that we did that? Did we do?
We reaffirmed it this year, but we actually started doing. We did it last year. We you know, as I mentioned, 2016 was a bad year. We shot up from about 500 homicides to nearly 800. And 17, 18, and 19, we had 13 to 15% declines every year. And we were just challenging ourselves at the beginning of 2020 to up it a little bit more. If we could get down to 20% a year, we could get under 400 homicides, which is a number we have not been under since 1965 as a city. So we set that goal last January, and in fact, the city went up 50%. So when we got together this year to have our press conference, we were asking, well, what do we do? Do we change our goal? Do we modify our goal? And fundamentally, we still want to get under 400 homicides as a first step. And then we still want to get on par with New York and LA, which is even lower, which given Chicago's population would be closer to 150 or 200. I mean, we just want to stretch ourselves to keep pushing. Now, we're now starting from a much higher place. We're starting from whatever Eddie said, 769 instead of 495, which is what we had in 19. So we just don't want to back away from it and say, well, we're abandoning our goal. No, we have to keep pushing ourselves to see if we can get back down. We have to make this year, 2020, we have to make 2020 an aberration, not a trend. And unfortunately, we're off to a bad year in 2021 as well. So we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I would say on my end, right, to answer your question, I want to start off by saying our communities, they need hope. And so whether or not the 20% reduction or 30% or 50% reduction, right, it could be aspirational. The thing is that we should be working towards that. We should be working towards it's zero homicide. And I know it's just it's a pipe dream. But, for somebody, right, like when I have to visit a family of one of our participants who've been killed, for that person, right, like at the larger scheme of things, all they are is a stat. It's a number. But for that family at that moment, right, is their loved one, is their boyfriend, is their husband, is somebody's father. And so I remind myself of that. When we have these aspirations, what's really behind it. I also find hope, and I think this is part of the solution. You have three, great organizations on this call. You have CP4P in this coalition. You have CRED, who's doing some amazing work in the South Side, and then you have Ready Chicago. And so it is really important for us as we think about reducing violence in these communities and to get to this number, is that we have to continue, right, to work together, to find ways that we could leverage our best practice, right, of what's working, what's not working, share those lessons learned among each other so we don't repeat the same mistakes, right? And how do we identify institutions or leaders that have integrity, that are transparent, that are willing to roll up their sleeves and push forward, regardless of the size of the organization or regardless of their title and position. And I think that's just a part of it at the community level. And there's the government level, like the city. Again, the city, at the end of the day, they hold the biggest purse strings here, in our community. And, we do need Lori Lightfoot in her office, right, to really invest in this. And they have to do their magic, right, to think about the resources that are needed to really make this work actually happen. When I think about what Vaughn mentioned